This January the 4th, and I have to make a quick video here to address something that's come up, which of course is the tape that was released of the call from President Trump and his team to Secretary of State Raffensperger of Georgia and his team. The press seems to be trying to falsely play this up as some attempt at improper influence or something of this sort. And that's of course the Democrats, but of course that's completely false, and I want to explain why. Now, first of all, I just want to mention quickly that if you like these videos, please give me a like and subscribe. It will help me get them out to more people. Okay, so here's the thing. What really happened is that President Trump and his team basically goes through a list of things that they've discovered of probable improper votes. That is, people who had left the state and registered out of state, people who they found obituaries for that still voted, dead people voting, people that were registered at something like a business address, like a UPS store, rather than at an actual residence, like an apartment or a home address, and a variety of things of that sort, which we've discussed this before in these videos. And he went through a list of those and counted how many votes and showed that the number was way above the margin of victory in the case. And what he was saying basically was, you don't have to find all the improper votes. You just have to find enough, basically, so he'd win the election. But basically, he's saying that they're there. He's not saying that make it up. He's not saying he's saying, if you were able to do a proper investigation, you'd be able to easily find enough votes to get above that threshold. Which, I mean, from a God's eye point of view, yes, you could, probably pretty easily. And then of course Raffensperger is basically saying that all of his ideas are based on conspiracy theories, that they're not true, that they've looked into it, and everything is clear. Now, a lady that's a member of Trump's team pointed out that they've not seen any such report which documents that they were asking for information from the Secretary of State's office that was never forthcoming, that they're not providing the data. And the lawyers on the other side seem to say that legally they were bound not to provide the data. And there was a little bit of give and take on that issue. And that's where you get in. And at some point, at various points, President Trump does get very frustrated and says a variety of things. And, and basically, just like on Twitter, it's authentic Trump. I mean, but there never was any attempt at either a bribe or an actual threat made, and so I don't think there was anything illegal at all about the call. You could argue that the propriety, from the point of view of legal purity, was perhaps not as great as you might want, particularly at this time. But I think far more outrageous is Raffensperger's decision to release this to the press. There was no call to do that. And if any damage is done to our electoral chances in the Senate race, it's pretty much because of this call. It's on his head. I mean, if there's any necessary to release it, he could release it after the election, right? It has no bearing on the actual vote there. So this was completely uncalled for on the part of Raffensperger's part. And I think he knows he's politically finished. Because he's made so many bad decisions, and the way he's defending all the fraudulent votes is just really sad. But on the other hand, and here's the side that doesn't go as good for President Trump. Trump seems to be out of touch with reality here. The votes have already been certified. There was no way that they were going to change the numbers based on anything he said. And the reason is, aside from the question of whether all the numbers that Trump claims are true or not, is that the ballots have been separated from anything that would identify the voter. So even if we could identify 20,000 illegal voters, okay, 20,000, we could prove that those 20,000 names voted illegally. How do you know who they voted for? Which ballots are they? They're now in a big mix that are not in any way attached to the name of the person in question. So there's no way to sort them out now. And that's the problem. So given that situation, it's not going to change anything. And given the fact that the courts have totally given Trump the back of his hand and not even really heard his cases, right now he has a case presented before the Fulton County Court in Georgia, and they haven't even assigned a judge yet to listen to the case. it's quite clear they're not going to do anything to help him out on this at all. And to some degree, it's almost too late because, as I pointed out before, the vote, the electoral count for Biden has been certified and voted. Okay, it's before the Congress, and the problem is, President Trump doesn't want to see that he doesn't have the votes in the House at a minimum. In the most positive case you could frame to overturn any of these delegations. And let's say bluntly, he doesn't have it in the Senate either. We already have had, the normal group in Senate, such as, there's no way he's not going to win on the Senate side on any of these challenges either. I mean, we're only going to have 51 senators on the 6th because the Georgia races won't be certified by that time, no matter who wins. Loeffler will be still in until it's certified, and hopefully will be in afterwards, of course. But at a minimum, we'll have 51 votes on the 6th, and basically you already have Romney and McCoskey and Collins, et cetera, that are not going to vote with Trump on this. So every Democrat will vote on the other side. So basically, the challenge is basically, like I've said all along, it's a protest. And I don't see anything wrong with it as a protest. Given the number of people involved this time, it's going to be a very strong protest. But that's what it is. And I don't. President Trump doesn't still seem to grasp this fact that it doesn't really matter. Truthfully, the facts no longer matter as far as the outcome of this election. It's baked in, and all the authorities that could change it have a certain bias, and they aren't changing their position. So what he can do, and what I would recommend to him to do, is to go to the next stage, is to plan on what he's going to do after the 20th. And one thing he should do is he should really launch a nationwide campaign to tighten election laws and to prevent what happened in this election from occurring in the future. I think it's a very noble and usable thing to continue to show that it was fraudulent and make the case which will show that the Biden administration will be a tainted election, and try to work as much as we can on that. Beyond that, the only other thing to do is try to elect those two people in Georgia and hopefully prevent the Democrats from taking complete control. They're in a very radical stage right now, and a lot of bad things are going to happen if they get in control. That's just a fact. As you can see already in the House, they're already changing the rules in the House to reduce the ability of the minority side to put up any amendments. The whole idea is to create ironclad control and move toward a one-party state. That's what the Democrats are about. That's what I've been saying since I've been making these videos, and that's the basic thing that got me animated, is we're in danger of really losing a lot of our freedoms in this country. And this is really not about President Trump or any two senators or anything else as such. It's about the raw numbers and the body and the radical agenda that the Democrats are putting forward. As you've seen, in spite of everything, Nancy Pelosi managed to get herself picked back as Speaker by a thin majority, but that thin majority is all it's going to take. Can she get a thin majority to pack the Supreme Court too? I don't know. We'll see if she gets a majority to do these radical rule changes, this gender neutral nonsense, etc. So I just want to go through this is what's ahead of us, and that's why I think that we need to focus on the real issue, which is a Senate race in Georgia right now. Hopefully we win it. But back to President Trump. He didn't do anything illegal here. It's a little sad that he did this at this time because, like I said, it isn't going to change anything, unfortunately. So anyway, that's all for now. And like I say, until next time. But I thought I needed to kind of make a comment when they're trying to present this as Trump did something illegal or something. I don't see anything illegal at all in what he did. Maybe unwise, but not illegal.